Hey everyone, I'm Erica from the blog Buttered Side Up, and today I'm going to show you how to make my sourdough English muffins. Let's go ahead and get started. 6 to 12 hours before you plan on mixing together your dough, feed your sourdough starter. It's ready when it's doubled, is active and bubbly, and passes the float test. In the bowl of a stand mixer, place 1 cup or 240 grams of warm water that's no warmer than 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 cup or 240 grams of sourdough starter, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of raw honey, 2.5 cups or 365 grams of bread flour. Now, you can use all-purpose flour instead of bread flour in a pinch, but the texture won't be quite as good. 1.5 teaspoons or 5 grams of unrefined sea salt, and 2 tablespoons of butter that's been melted and cooled slightly. Place on the base of the stand mixer and knead on medium-low for 15 minutes. The dough will start out shaggy, but will get smoother as the gluten develops. Transfer the dough to a greased bowl. Cover and allow to ferment at room temperature for 1 hour. Then put it in the fridge for 20 to 24 hours. Now it's time to shape the English muffins. Cut out 12 squares of parchment paper and arrange them on a large baking sheet or cutting board. Sprinkle them with cornmeal. If you don't care about your English muffins deflating a bit after you transfer them to the griddle, you can just grease a large piece of parchment paper, sprinkle it with cornmeal, and put the English muffins on there. Basically, you have to decide, do you want the tedium of cutting out individual pieces of parchment paper now, and then it will be nice and easy to transfer the English muffins to the griddle? Or do you not want to have to go through that hassle, and then it'll be a little bit more fidgeting when you transfer the English muffins to the griddle? You have to decide where you want the tedium. Okay, take the dough out of the fridge and plop it out onto a lightly greased work surface. Divide the dough into 12 equal pieces. You can weigh the dough and divide that weight by 12 to determine how much each piece of dough should weigh. Honestly, I usually just eyeball it, but if you're concerned about them being uniform, you can weigh them. And this will ensure that they cook more evenly. Form each piece of dough into a smooth ball by rolling it on your work surface. Place the dough balls on the prepared parchment paper squares and flatten them out. Cover the English muffins with a tea towel and allow to rise at room temperature for about 2 to 6 hours. It's best if you have a warm spot in your kitchen where you can let them rise, but if your kitchen is chilly, you can turn your oven on to its lowest setting and immediately turn it back off. Put the English muffins in the oven, making sure that the oven is just warm, not hot. You don't want to bake them right now. This creates a proofing box of sorts. Once the English muffins are quite puffy, it's time to cook them. Take the English muffins out of the oven and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Preheat a cast iron skillet or griddle over medium-low heat for 5 minutes. Carefully transfer half of the English muffins to the preheated griddle, trying not to spill too much cornmeal on the griddle since it tends to burn. Cook the muffins for about 5 to 8 minutes per side until nicely browned. Transfer to a baking dish and bake in the preheated oven for 10 minutes. This helps to ensure that they're cooked all the way through, so you don't have to wonder if they're going to be doughy in the middle. If you don't want to turn on your oven, you can simply cook the English muffins on low for 10 minutes per side. They're more likely to burn a bit on the bottom before they're done in the middle, but then you don't have to turn on your oven. Repeat this process with the remaining muffins. When they're done griddling and baking, transfer them to a wire cooling rack. Make sure you let them cool for at least 10 minutes before slicing into them. This ensures that they won't be doughy in the middle. By the way, do you open your English muffin with a fork or with a knife? I go back and forth between those methods. It's fun to use forks sometimes, but I actually don't find that it's super necessary. Of course, you can eat these fresh with butter and jam, or you can go ahead and toast them up. Growing up, we always toasted our English muffins, so to me it just doesn't feel right to eat them untoasted. Now, I'm definitely not trying to downplay how wonderful regular toast is, but I personally think that English muffins do have an advantage. Because they're griddled on the outside instead of just baking them in the oven, they kind of get seared on the top and the bottom. That way, the butter doesn't run out of the bottom of the English muffin kind of like it does with toast. In other words, you can spread more butter on top without having to worry about your hands getting all greasy. Now, of course, like I said, you can eat these with butter and jam. They're wonderful that way. Or you can use them to make breakfast sandwiches or even mini pizzas. How do you like to eat your English muffins? Leave me a comment and let me know your favorite way. Alright, so that's how to make my sourdough English muffins. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you'd like to learn how to make more delicious from scratch recipes. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.